A New York judge refuses to dismiss the case brought by Liberty Counsel against the same-sex marriage law in New York. I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, Judge Robert Wiggins dealt a major setback to New York Governor Mario Cuomo and also Michael Bloomberg, mayor of New York, in the lawsuit that Liberty Counsel brought against the same-sex marriage law. We brought this on behalf of some nonprofit organizations there, New Yorkers for Constitutional Freedoms, and other several plaintiffs. On behalf of them, because of the flagrant violations of New York law that were committed when they passed this same-sex marriage law. Several constitutional and state violations were committed. Rena Linda Valtzen was the one who argued the case, and they thought they would just waltz out of there and get this case dismissed. Now it's going to trial, which means that we will have an opportunity to depose the governor of New York and Mayor Michael Bloomberg and others.
Well, New York law requires that a bill be printed in its final form on the desks of the legislators 3 days prior to a vote unless there is an emergency that exists. Well, Governor Cuomo cynically abused that provision and ignored that provision and declared an emergency, stating that waiting 3 days would deprive same-sex couples of marriage, and that somehow then created an emergency. And Judge Wiggins, commenting on this, Matt, wrote, quote, "Logically and clearly, this cite by the governor is disingenuous. The review of such concept-altering legislation for 3 days after generations of existing definitions would not so damage same-sex couples as to necessitate an avoidance of rules meant to ensure full review and discussion prior to any vote." And that Judge Wiggins also wrote that, quote, "Although the disregard for the statute seems evident, the court feels constrained to not rule on the governor's certification of necessity," essentially saying that this thing can move forward and go to trial where the facts can come out and a ruling can be reached.
Yeah, there was two things. There was on the 3-day, and he says that the governor's excuse was disingenuous. Yeah. There's no reason to have the waiver of this 3 days. And in fact, but he also said that that he has to accept the governor's certification as necessary. I don't believe that that's true. But on the open meetings, there's also another complaint that we had, another aspect of the complaint. And it's on that one he said that we could actually move forward with litigation. The open meetings complaint, he said this, quote, that there was clear arm twisting by the executive on the legislative. It permeates the entire process. He says that the New York law requires every meeting of a public body to be open to the general public with few exceptions, none of which apply here. And on this significant aspect of the complaint, the court allowed the case to proceed to trial. What ultimately happened in the open meetings is, under New York law, it's very specific and it's very stringent that all these public meetings need to be open to the public. That means that these deliberations need to be transparent. Members of the public and lobbyists need to be able to have access to listen to the debates and the discussions, need to be able to also understand the issues, to be able to even give input. What happened, however, is, and this is a Republican-controlled Senate. I certainly want to point that out. This was a Republican-controlled Senate. Unfortunately, a rhino type of Republican-controlled Senate, Republican in name only, that ultimately has the majority in the Senate. They then got together, and by getting together, they automatically constitute a quorum because they have the majority. Yeah. But they also got together with a Democratic governor, Mario Cuomo, and an independent mayor, Michael Bloomberg, and they shut out the public. Lobbyists were not allowed to come in, and they met behind closed doors. Neither the public nor lobbyists or anyone other than these Republicans and the governor and the mayor on more than one occasion were allowed to come in. The public was completely shut out. That violates the open meetings law. Now, the remedy for a violation of open meetings is to start it all over again so that the process goes again. Whatever you passed becomes null and void, and then you start the process again and do it the right way.
Well, and there's a lot of cynicism going on here on the part of the governor, on the part of the liberals in the legislature. Many of those who had pledged to support natural organic marriage, who have gone against an assaulted marriage by taking. There is some evidence that there were some under the table things going on and potential kickbacks and so forth for people changing their votes on this stuff. That's a whole nother program right there. But clearly the legislature, the governor, they're going against the will of the people. By and large, across the country, 30 states, I believe, right now have constitutional amendments. People still understand that marriage is what marriage is. It involves male-female binary compatibility, and that it's ridiculous and oxymoronic to imagine that a man can marry a man or a woman can marry a woman. And if the government sanctions and puts a stamp on that nonsense, that doesn't make it any more true. It may have some kind of legal weight, but it does not become marriage. People generally across the country get that. I believe they will continue to get that. So the legislature tries to ram this through. The governor tries to circumvent the legal process here. And there is some blowback now, and it looks like the whole thing may be scrapped. They may have to start from scratch, and I hope that the people who they tried to avoid a debate, tried to avoid open discourse here, I hope that the people will let their voices be heard.
Well, we have a long way to go. We've jumped a major hurdle in this particular case. The government decided to come in, just assume that they could dismiss this case and move on. They made sort of light of it. Well, this Judge Wiggins, set them in their tracks and ultimately allows this case to go forward. That will send a chill up the spine of those who are supporting this law, because now we can go and have depositions and discovery to unveil what actually was going on behind these closed doors. In fact, one of our clients has been a lobbyist, a pro-family lobbyist, former pastor for 20 at least years, said he's never seen anything like this in the history of his experience in New York, where the people were literally shut out of the process. And they did the strong-arm techniques. And, in fact, even the court said that there was arm twisting, clear arm twisting by the executive on the legislative, and that permeates the entire process. Liberty Counsel is moving forward to uncover that. Give us a call at Liberty Counsel at 1-800-671-1776. We have some books that would be helpful for you, especially at this time of year. Same-sex marriage, putting every household at risk. We also have Judith Reisman's book, Sexual Sabotage. That's right there on our website, Judith Reisman's book. She just returned from the Vatican and also from meeting members of the Parliament in Great Britain. And then we also have, of course, Rena Linda Voltson's book, Only One Mommy, the story about Lisa Miller. So that's Only One Mommy, Sexual Sabotage, and Same-Sex Marriage. This particular issue, I think, of redefining family, redefining marriage, represents a clear threat to the family and to our freedom.
It absolutely does. The cases are piling up where people are being Christians are having their rights trampled for merely holding an opinion or voicing an opinion in opposition to the notion of the radical redefinition of marriage. And we're going to continue at Liberty Counsel to fight this. The left loves to create this false idea of an inevitability, that somehow it's inevitable. DOMA, the Defense of Marriage attack, is under assault. President Obama and Attorney General Holder have abrogated their duty to defend a constitutionally passed law, the Defense of Marriage Act, overwhelmingly passed in the United States Congress, signed into law by Democratic President Bill Clinton in 1996. Yet President Obama has said he will not defend this law in court, which actually may be better for the law itself because Congress has stepped in to defend it. But marriage continues to be under assault in the United States of America. It is not inevitable. We will continue to fight to defend the definition of natural marriage.
Well, this is a big step forward in New York. Of course, New York is a big state, and the legislature passed this same-sex marriage law by using tactics that actually violated their other laws, and that's why Liberty Counsel is going to hold them accountable. It's the only case like it in the country. Get with Liberty Counsel and find out more about it. You can go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org. Remember Liberty Counsel in your prayers for this case and others. You can also remember Liberty Counsel at this time with your year-end contributions. You can make an online credit card contribution right there at Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org, or from the website. You can also find the address and email in your contribution, or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Go to the website or call us and ask for some of these books, Same-Sex Marriage, Putting Every Household at Risk, or Judith Reisman's book, Sexual Sabotage, or Rena Linda Valson's book, Only One Mommy.